I'm Marcus Smith, and this is Constant Wonder. With Christmas drawing near, the traditional season of Advent is underway. Constant Wonder is marking this special window of time, regarded by so many people around the world as wondrous or sacred, with a calendar of our own, a 25-part series of daily vignettes. We hope you enjoy these short episodes every day right up through the 25th, and as always, our aim with Constant Wonder is a quest for awe or wonder wherever it presents itself, in all nature, human or wild, vast or small, encounters that move us beyond words. It's December 13th. As a child of the 1950s, growing up in the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, Francis Collins was sent to the Episcopal Church to learn music.
I was very carefully instructed by my father that this was about music training. Please ignore the theology because he didn't think it was relevant. And I was a dutiful son and pretty much followed his lead.
Francis would grow up to become a famous geneticist, the director of the Human Genome Project, the director of the National Institutes of Health. But he first gained prominence with the discovery of the gene that causes cystic fibrosis. He also eventually founded BYULogos. That's an organization for scientifically minded people who also want to nurture their Christian faith. But during his growing up years and well into medical school, he continued to adhere to his father's instructions. He loved music and he was a determined atheist. Yet, even as a child, sacred music for him was a conduit of sorts.
Being in that boy choir in this Episcopal church on something like a Christmas Eve where the church is full of candles and poinsettias and it's midnight and it's snowing outside and you're singing some incredibly beautiful piece of music that you had worked on for the preceding 3 months, something happens there that you have this sense of something, I guess I wouldn't have known the word at the time, numinous. It's beyond the materialistic explanation. It's a longing for something you can't quite grasp that is both sweet and a bit painful. It's just this acute sense that this is really what I'm made for. I only get to experience this in a very rare occasion, and as soon as I think about it, it's gone. This is what C.S. Lewis, when I later read his books, describes so beautifully and calls joy. Joy gets used in lots of other ways, but in Lewis' term, it is exactly what I had experienced, this sense of longing, which maybe is a signpost also that we are made for another world. We're made for a relationship with God, and this is that moment to glimpse that before it slips away.
Francis Collins would convert to Christianity during medical school. He was in his late 20s, and ever since then, he's been all in on the sacred music of the season.
I'm a total lover of the Christmas season with lots of traditions that I have now embraced for the last 50 years or so. With my kids, I have 2 daughters, and we often are together at the Christmas season. And one of the things that we always do is listen to the Messiah. And they and I know every note, and we know exactly what comes after what. And when we get to that last grand amen, which a lot of people skip because the words are just amen, but the music is just unbelievably exquisite. The sopranos are up at that high A, and they're just coming down the scale like a waterfall, and then back up again and back again. And you can feel we're coming to the conclusion in this incredibly discordant chord where there's a seventh in the bass, which you're never supposed to do, and then the whole thing stops, and you just think, I'm going to die right here. They're not going to leave me. And then Handel resolves the whole thing to this crashing, wonderful finale. I can't go through that without crying like a baby. It just does something. It's like the whole synthesis of creation brought together in that moment at the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ, come to save us from all of our crashing disappointments and bring us forward to some beautiful harmony at the end.
Since visiting with Francis Collins, I've found myself reflecting, more than once actually, on a phrase we just heard from him. He was describing as best he could the impact on his life of listening to this oratorio by Handel each Christmas season, year by year over several decades. He said, "It's like the whole synthesis of creation brought together in that moment." For believing Christians like Collins, the infant in the manger is also the God of creation, come to earth to take up mortal flesh in order to be with us, which is in fact the meaning of the Hebrew name Emmanuel, God with us. That's the pivotal concept at the heart of the Nativity. It's what Francis Collins is probably thinking about. Advent is a pilgrimage of commemoration, moving day by day toward something deeply important for countless people. But for the moment of that grand synthesis Collins is describing, words are never enough to convey the full depth of feeling. And maybe that's where music steps in, to help us feel better what we want to say but perhaps never can. Our thanks to Dr. Francis Collins for sharing some of his personal thoughts about experiencing sacred music during the season of Christmas. Dr. Collins was the longest-serving director of the NIH for 12 years. He's also the founder of BYULogos. His latest book is titled The Road to Wisdom on Truth, Science, Faith, and Trust. You can hear a full, regular-length Constant Wonder episode with him, where we talk about his scientific discoveries in genetics, about his faith journey, and more about music. Just search for the episode titled A Geneticist's Breakthrough to Faith and Hope. This episode for Advent was produced by Tenery Taylor with help from Lily Jensen, sound design by James Call. All of our special daily episodes during Advent are available from BYUradio.org, from Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Tomorrow in our Constant Wonder Advent calendar,
the earth, is our first sacred text. Long before there were any written words, there was the text of the earth. Take note of whatever most catches your attention, because that's a hook that is speaking to some need. You have an emptiness, something to learn, something you want to know.
I'm Marcus Smith. Constant Wonder is a production of BYU Radio.